With a planning area of 258 square kilometers, the Jing Jin New City project was once hailed as Asia's largest complex of villas and high-rise buildings. However, it has now become China's latest ghost city, with more than 3,000 villas and hundreds of nearly abandoned office and apartment buildings. An hour's drive from Beijing, next to the Jinji Expressway turnoff in Tianjin, an archway combining Chinese and European styles welcomes you to Jing Jin City. The Gate of Triumph, named after the Arc de Triomphe in Paris, leads to a planned urban area spanning 258 square kilometers, featuring at least 3,000 villas, a five-star hotel, a resort with hot springs, golf courses, museums, temples, 2 universities, entertainment facilities, and a huge area of abandoned land. Yet what is missing here is residents. A local resident, Mr. Gao Huaxu, in his 60s, said that in the area where he lives, there are nearly 400 villas, but only about 8 to 10 of them are occupied during the fall and winter. In the spring and summer, the situation is better, but no more than 20 are occupied, Mr. Gao said. Tianjin's Baodi district government, together with Hong Kong property developer Hobson Development, began the project in 2002. In 2006, the Chinese government approved Jing Jin City as one of 11 satellite cities for Beijing and Tianjin to be developed. More than 20 years later, Asia's largest villa complex remains a ghost town with a sparse population, deserted streets, and an eerie silence. A representative of Hobson confirmed that the area was a construction site and that many villa owners were wealthy business leaders who were too busy to visit their properties. The project would take time, said Zhao Yuting, general manager of Hobson's Tianjin area, arguing that it would take longer to build a city than just a residential area. But in new cities such as Ordos in Inner Mongolia and Shenmu in Shanxi, infrastructure and economic opportunities have lagged behind construction, making them less appealing to residents, experts say. Walking down the main street here feels lonely and cold. Some shops leading to the city center have empty shelves. A woman who rented a temporary apartment in the area 4 years ago for gardening work says she has never seen a shop stay open for long. There used to be a pet shop here, but it quickly closed down, she says. Outside the main gates of the residential areas are empty shops with large broken signs, some advertising hair salons or gyms. Zhang Jun, a cleaner, says they were brought here to make the area look populated. A few minutes' walk from the Arc de Triomphe is a massive 800-room Hyatt Regency. Rising like a castle in the twilight, the hotel is largely empty, save for a dozen staff and guests preparing for a product exhibition. 2 hotel staff said they usually only receive 100 to 200 guests. Only on weekends does the number increase slightly. Zhao Zongsheng, a taxi driver outside the universities, said the city was almost dead, with no facilities and a long commute to Beijing and Tianjin. It's only suitable for those who are retired but not too old, Zhao said. At the project sales center, staff said most of the villas had been sold, but owners rarely came. Half of the 53 square kilometer project has yet to be built, while another 4,000 villas are planned, said Yang Kang, a sales representative. Most buyers are purchasing for retirement, vacation, or speculation. In the early years after the city was approved by the Chinese government, amid great public interest, the Baodi government announced plans to expand the city to 258 square kilometers, equivalent to the size of central Tianjin. Hobson Development has poured more than 20 billion yuan into the project, according to Time Weekly. Zhao said at least 1,000 villas have been sold, with occupancy rates rising by 10 to 15% last year. However, most of the owners are government officials or senior leaders who rarely visit, leaving few properties occupied, and the streets remain deserted. In a revised plan released late last year, the Baodi government abandoned plans to expand the project to 258 square kilometers, claiming that only 53 square kilometers had been planned. According to a study by China's National Development and Reform Commission, there is at least one such project in every city in China's 12 provinces and autonomous regions. Compared to the ever-expanding districts in China's major cities, these empty urban areas lack businesses, and residents are discouraged from moving there due to limited job opportunities and poor infrastructure. Area adjacent to the villa complex. The neighborhood was empty when we arrived. We asked a local worker about it, and he explained that only a few people have moved in over the years. This area is called Xiong'an Health Town. According to real estate listings, multiple communities are planned here, with a total of 10,083 homes, including numerous townhouses, small high-rise buildings, and taller apartment complexes. From an aerial view, the neighborhoods are densely clustered. The townhouse area we saw earlier is considered high-end, consisting of 26 townhouses that can accommodate 531 households. A real estate agent mentioned that the lack of ventilation is a major reason for the low occupancy. She added that Chinese cooking requires gas, as cooking with electricity doesn't provide the same results. However, the issue extends beyond gas. The area lacks adequate facilities. Only kindergartens exist, with no primary or secondary schools. The earliest communities here were built over a decade ago, yet there are no proper schools, making it difficult for families. Medical facilities are also scarce, with only a private hospital and a pharmacy available. Shopping options are limited to basic supermarkets, with no malls or entertainment facilities such as gyms, parks, or cinemas. This lack of amenities makes it unappealing for residents to live here. Nearby, several high-rise residential buildings have halted construction, likely becoming stalled projects, or Lan Wei Lu. Some appear complete from the outside but remain unfinished inside. Online information reveals delays in certain housing estates in this area. These tall buildings, over 30 floors high, seem to consist of small units, which we plan to investigate further. Inside one of the residential properties, the unfinished state is evident. Despite many houses being built, they remain undecorated. From the windows, you can see the surrounding neighborhoods, including a villa community with row villas over 200 square meters in size, priced at just over 3,000 yuan per square meter. Some are still up for sale. The high-rises nearby also have similar pricing, which is surprisingly low. The units are mostly small, with one-bedroom layouts, including a bathroom and kitchen, all in compact spaces. Despite the low prices, the area's shortcomings have left it desolate and uninhabited, and this desolation has persisted for decades. Xiong'an urban area, once the pride of Xi Jinping, now resembles a ghost town. The Xiong'an new area has been positioned as the cure for Beijing's rising sprawl and congestion. But now it looks like a ghost town, deserted and gloomy, with a very sparse population. The atmosphere becomes eerie when walking on the empty streets here. For Beijing's 22 million residents, the Chinese government's latest announcement may come as a literal breath of fresh air. In April 2017, the Communist Party's top leaders unveiled plans to create a new city just south of the country's capital. The Xiong'an New Area, a designated special economic zone, is being hailed by state media as a model for urbanization and a potential cure for Beijing's urban sprawl. According to China's official news agency, Xinhua, the city is reflective of a new chapter for the country and will relieve the capital's rising pollution levels and car-choked traffic. A joint statement released by the country's two most powerful political bodies, the State Council and the Central Committee, describes the new city as a strategy crucial for a millennium to come. The proposed city will stretch across 3 counties. Early plans suggest it will be 3 times the size of New York City. According to an estimate from Morgan Stanley, investment in infrastructure and relocation may run about $290 billion, 2 trillion yuan, over the first 15 years, potentially attracting around 6.7 million people to the area. While the potential gains from a venture of this size are huge, it's also reasonable to question whether Xiong'an will be a workable solution or if it will simply inherit existing problems. Many efforts to construct new cities have left behind a trail of ghost towns in China. For example, the city of Kangbashi currently houses 100,000 residents when it was meant to attract more than 500,000. In 2013, when the city of Ujiapu was being developed, It evoked images of a Manhattan-like skyline. A year later, investors started to pull out, construction came to a halt, and Ujiapu was left with a few half-finished skyscrapers. And let's see what Xiong'an urban area is like now. I am now at Xiong'an Station in the Xiong'an New area. Surprisingly, this station was constructed in an undeveloped area. In front of the station lies open land with weeds and patches of alfalfa. The Xiong'an New area is a prominent project endorsed by Xi Jinping, labeled a Millennium Project. It was initially envisioned to address Beijing's over-concentration of resources and development challenges, including traffic congestion, high-rise density, air pollution, and environmental decline, which have rendered the capital dysfunctional. With Beijing's prospects for improvement limited, Xi decided to move some capital functions 100 kilometers south to the Xiong'an area, regarding it as a landmark project for the annals of history. As of April this year, the Xiong'an New area has seen over 380 key projects, with an accumulated investment exceeding 670 billion yuan. Despite substantial government spending, many homes in the area remain unoccupied, and the streets feel deserted. In the Xiong'an New area, I observed an intriguing phenomenon. Although the houses are well constructed with adequate facilities, the streets are almost devoid of pedestrians. A netizen posted a video noting how few lights are on in residential buildings at night. Further down, you'll find residential complexes. In some of these buildings, hardly any lights are on. In that community over there, only a few scattered lights are visible in the buildings. Are vehicles restricted here? Roadblocks are raised at both ends of the road. The current permanent population in the Xiong'an New area is very sparse. This afternoon, I visited Rongcheng County, an older town within the Xiong'an New area. Its population and foot traffic are much higher than those in the new urban area. At night, there are few cars on the streets, though I did see a Tesla parked here. Moving to another street, it's the same story. Some residential areas are dimly lit, but more people seem to be walking around in the evening. Are they coming out after work? This street is marked as the Soft Innovation District. The Xiong'an New area's greenery is commendable, with plenty of green belts along the roadsides and medians. However, 80 to 90% of the shops are either closed or unleased. There's also a 24-hour smart study room here. If you have nowhere else to go at night, you might consider spending the night here. And if you go alone, you will have a creepy feeling when staying here. A netizen recently posted a video highlighting the decline in local rental prices. The true reason behind the rent drop in Xiong'an New District's resettlement housing is a simple matter of supply and demand. Many Xiong'an residents have been allocated multiple homes and wish to rent them out, but few people are actually seeking rental properties. Most workers live in dormitories provided by their employers, and there are few potential renters among state-owned enterprise employees or business executives. Despite CCP officials promoting Xiong'an as a millennium plan, external analysts remain skeptical. They argue that Beijing authorities are defying market dynamics, forcing Beijing institutions to relocate solely through government mandate and administrative power. While there may be some progress initially, over time, the market's suppressed forces are bound to react. In the end, the Xiong'an New Area project may stagnate. China's high-speed rail network spans an impressive 45,000 kilometers, yet only 6 lines are profitable. Most lines struggle with insufficient ridership. China's total high-speed rail debt now stands at 6.13 trillion yuan. Even the profitable Beijing-Shanghai line reported a 1 billion yuan loss in the first half of 2022. Why does China's high-speed rail system lose money despite a 1.4 billion population? The high cost of initial construction results in a prolonged investment recovery period. Furthermore, operational expenses are high. For instance, monthly electricity costs alone reach millions, coupled with substantial maintenance expenses. The infrastructure obsession is wasteful. Why? Local governments use project resources for financial gain, indiscriminately applying for and approving projects. Can you believe that a tourist city like Guilin has 9 high-speed rail stations? By comparison, First-tier cities like Shenzhen have only 4, highlighting a complete misallocation of resources. Some cities invested heavily in high-speed rail stations, only to cease operations. Guilin, for example, has 9 high-speed rail stations, yet Wutong Station, hindered by its remote location and poor transport links, shut down after just 4 years. Guilin, with 9 stations, has the most high-speed rail stations of any prefecture-level city in Guangxi. Among these, Wutong Station, named after the town it serves, receives the fewest complaints. It is also the only town-level high-speed rail station in Guangxi. Wutong Railway Station is located in Tongshan Village, Wutong Town, Lingui District, Guilin City. It is a modest intermediate station on the Guiyang-Guangzhou high-speed railway line, roughly 3 kilometers from Wutong Town Center. Today, you'll find an empty square in front of the station. Why is that? After its construction, the station did not open in sync with the Guiyang-Guangzhou line in December 2014. It eventually opened in March 2018, but with fewer than 10 trains stopping daily, attracting under 200 passengers. The station's traffic remains abysmal,